Happy Europe Day, everyone! Today we celebrate peace and unity in Europe, as May the 9th marks a date in which the former French Foreign Minister, Robert Schuman, held his speech in Paris in 1950. The Schuman Declaration sets the basis for a more cooperative and united Europe, with no space for violence and hate. A Europe just like Schuman himself was imagining and acting for. Have you ever read the Schuman Declaration? Let's read it together to celebrate its 70th anniversary. And a little spoiler, be ready for a surprise at the end of this video.
Let the declaration begin. As Schuman said, world peace cannot be safeguarded without the making of creative efforts proportionate to the dangers which threaten it. The contribution which an organized and living Europe can bring to civilization is indispensable to the maintenance of peaceful relations. In taking upon herself for more than 20 years the role of champion of a united Europe, France has always had as her essential aim the service of peace. A united Europe was not achieved, and we had war.
Europe will not be made all at once or according to a single plan. It will be built through concrete achievements which first create a de facto solidarity. The coming together of the nations of Europe requires the elimination of the age-old opposition of France and Germany. Any action taken must in the first place concern these two countries. With this aim in view, the French government proposed that action be taken immediately on one limited but decisive point.
It proposed that Franco-German production of coal and steels as would all be placed under common high authority within the framework of an organization open to the participation of the other countries of Europe. The pooling of coal and steels production should immediately provide for the setting up of a common foundation for economic development, as the first step in the Federation of Europe, and will change the destinies of those regions which have long been devoted to manufacturing of munitions of war, of which they have been the most constant victims.
The solidarity in production thus established will make it plain that any war between France and Germany becomes not merely unthinkable but materially impossible. The setting up of this powerful productive unit open to all countries willing to take part and bond ultimately to provide all the member countries with the basic elements of industrial production on the same terms will lay a true foundation for their economic unification.
This production will be offered to the world as a whole without distinction or exception, with the aim of contributing to raising living standards and to promoting peaceful achievements. With increased resources, Europe will be able to pursue the achievement of one of its essential tasks, namely the development of the African continent. In this way, there will be realized simply and speedily that fusion of interest, which is indispensable to the establishment of a common economic system. It may be the leaven from which may grow a wider and deeper community between countries long opposed to one another by sanguinary divisions.
By pooling basic production and by instituting a new high authority whose decision will bind France, Germany and other member countries, this proposal will lead to the realization of the first concrete foundation of a European federation, indispensable to the preservation of peace. To promote the realization of the objectives defined, the French government is ready to open negotiations on the following basis.
The task with which this common high authority will be charged will be that of securing, in the shortest possible time, the modernization of production and the improvement of its quality, the supply of coal and steel on identical terms to the French and German markets as well as to the markets of other member countries, the development in common of exports to other countries, the equalization and improvement of the living condition of workers in these industries.
To achieve these objectives, starting from the very different conditions in which the production of member countries is at the present situated, it is proposed that certain transitional measures should be instituted, such as the application of a production and investment plan, the establishment of compensating machinery for equating prices, and the creation of a restructuring fund to facilitate the rationalization of production. The movement of coal and steel between member countries will immediately be freed from all customs duties and will not be affected by differential transport rates. Conditions will gradually be created, which will spontaneously provide for the more rational distribution of production at the highest level of productivity.
In contrast to international cartels, which tend to impose restrictive practice on distribution and the exploitation of national markets, and to maintain high profits, the organization will ensure the fusion of markets and the expansion of production. The essential principle and undertakings defined above will be the subject of the treaty signed between the states and submitted for the ratification of their parliaments. The negotiation required to settle details of application will be undertaken with the help of an arbitrator appointed by common agreement. It will be entrusted with the task of seeing that agreements which conform with the principle laid down, and in the event of deadlock, it will decide what solution is to be adopted.
The Common Height Authority, entrusted with the management of the scheme, will be composed of independent persons appointed by the governments giving equal representation. A chairman will be chosen by common agreement between the governments. The authority's decision will be enforceable in France, Germany, and other member countries. Appropriate measures will be provided for means of appeal against the decision of the authority.
A representative of the United Nations will be accredited to the authority and will be instructed to make a public report to the United Nations twice yearly, giving an account of the working of the new organization, particularly as concerns the safeguarding of its objectives.
The institution of the High Authority will in no way prejudge the matters of ownership of enterprises. In the exercise of its function, the Common High Authority will take into account the powers conferred upon the International Rural Authority and the obligation of all kinds imposed upon Germany, so long as these remain in force.
Although this beautiful and meaningful declaration will never get outdated, we would like to show Mr. Schuman how his words are still taken into serious account. That's why, after 70 years, we would like to renew it and to declare once again why and how much the European project is relevant for our present and mostly for our future.
Send us your Schuman Declaration by August 14th at alba@albainternet.org. The author of the most representative composition will win a participation to our upcoming Festivalba, a 3-day event taking place in Pula, Croatia, from September 21st to September 23rd, 2020, where you will get a chance to read it out loud in front of all our members and partners. Happy Europe Day again!